All right, we're going to take this from the top. Want to welcome everyone today. Antoine Thompson, Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. And welcome to Green Leaders on the Move, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so we are so excited to be here today. I want to thank all of the folks who are watching and these two dynamic individuals that are making it happen in the industry. And so we have two people on our show, Nyla Dawkins, and we also have Khadijah Shaw. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So let's get right into it. I want to go right to you, Nyla. Why don't we tell us about yourself? What made you want to get into all the things you could do in the world? What made you be so interested in climate and sustainability and all that good stuff?
Sure. Well, I've always been an environmentalist since I was an itty bitty preteen, whether it was learning about TerraCycle, ways that I can help out, ways that I can learn about, okay, what is this thing, machine or contraption work, and how does it get to be a product that is usable, sustainable. I've always loved being in the waste and recycling kind of realm, so that's kind of been my niche. It then cycled to me being on campus and being one of the only environmental student leaders, like in certain groups, and being representative there and trying to do composting on my campus at Penn State, Harrisburg. It worked out kind of well. It was kind of new because a lot of people didn't know, okay, how composting works. And so that kind of uphill thing was mixed, but it still was fun and a learning experience. And then afterwards, after university, I became more enveloped in volunteering. So I'm part of the Sierra Club of Prince George's County. I'm on XCOM, and so are you. And I love it, and I wouldn't change much about that. And even with Earth Day, I love every single Earth Day, and of course, April is Earth Month. So I did litter pickup, which is my favorite thing in the world as far as tasks to do. And we picked up so much, 11 bags of waste and trash in our local park up in Kettering, Largo area. And so that was amazing. That was fun to do for Earth Day.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm just often baffled about is just the amount of water bottles and beer bottles and wine bottles and papers that are all over the country. When I think about Canada, especially Toronto, which is not the size of New York City, but it's bigger than most cities in the United States outside of, probably LA and New York City. But their city is so much cleaner. And, what can we do as an environmental advocate? What can we do to get people to just not litter as much? I mean, especially things that are not biodegradable, right? Like, it's not like throwing some bubble gum out the window or something like that, or even a piece of food. But I mean, like, so much junk is out along the roads.
Well, definitely, there's a few different things I can think of. In Maryland, we have certain bans on bags, like, for example, plastic bags, like the grocery store ones. Also, they're the thicker bags that people can buy, like from Aldi's or from Giant or other type of retailers such as that in the grocery space. But then there's the reusable bags people can buy and use. If you're a smoker, I'm not, but there are those containers that you can like walk around with instead of just throwing your butts outside. You can, consciously, look where bottles are and see, I'm not going to contribute to that. So I'm going to get myself a reusable container, which I have, and I've been using for like years. I have one Contigo. I had used that one until it got not as good. And so I got myself a bigger, more durable one. And that saves you so much money on water. If you don't have filtered water at home, you can, maybe buy one and then use your reusable bottle instead of buying hundreds of thousands of dollars in bottled water over the years, because it adds up and it's a cost you don't have to pay.
And let's go to Khadijah. Khadijah, you're the future, right? I mean, like, tell us about yourself, where you go to school, what you're doing, and what motivated you to get into the environmental space and clean energy, clean transportation space.
Okay, so my name is Khadijah Shaw. I am a Prince George's County native, born and raised. I go to Bowie
Prince
State
George's
University.
County, where is that located? What state is that in?
In Maryland.
Okay, all right.
PG, Maryland. I go to Bowie State University. I'm an intern for the Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. I work in, I'll say, like, workforce development, trying to get job fairs. I also help with the Future Green Leaders, which is a program for high school students to be aware of environmental issues and why it's so important to start teaching the youth about it before they get to my age. I'm still young, but I got into the environmental sector by, like, I was in school at first for nursing, and then when the pandemic happened, I kind of like didn't think that nursing was for me. And by my junior year, I started to read up on, like, environmental issues going on and climate change. And I wasn't aware of environmental science that much until I got to college. And then over the summer, when I started to intern with the Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition, it made me realize how much, like, what's going on now with air pollution and all that is a public health issue, not just hugging trees and planting trees and recycling. It's, like, affecting us. So that's what made me feel more passionate about what we're doing now.
Awesome. And I wanted to have a conversation with both of you about, like, Khadijah, you head up a lot of our outreach activities when we go out to the community events, and you do a good job at that, right? And so how do you feel when you go out to some of these neighborhoods, some of these, doing a table information session, and how's that been for you? Any lessons learned?
Yes. Most of the time when we're out and about in these, like, different events, some of the people that come up to the table are well-versed, well-educated on what's going on. So I'm learning something new. And then I also love talking to people that kind of don't know what's going on, because you get to teach them something. And it's, like, important to get people aware of what's going on. Even if we don't have the specific answers, at least you know what you're up against. So that's my favorite part.
Nice. Well, Nyla, you've been out doing a lot of outreach. You're part of the Sierra Club and doing outreach with them as well for some of the equity sessions. You do a lot of tabling for different organizations, but especially for the Sierra Club. What are some of the things you've been learning over the last year or two?
Well, when it comes to the events, I love and have learned to be where the attendees are. So go to their functions, talk to them more, do follow up, make connections, whether it be with the speakers, with some of the attendees. You may have things in common and may see them at another event. And that's a good way to kind of interlock, especially if they're part of a group. Like, for example, could be an AKA. We met some at our last equity event, and they were there. And so they're now an established connection that we can have and go to their events. They can come to ours. I've gotten better at even just emailing other environmental organizations who maybe didn't get a chance to come to our event. That's vital as well, keeping the spirit alive and communicating with people we maybe not would normally see in other organizations that happen to be in the environmental world as well. I know it's a small world, but there are a few organizations in Prince George's County that we can connect with. But we would love to see them at other events too.
So I wanted to give both of you a chance to shed some insight on what do you think the top three things that people should be doing to make the country a better place in terms of the environment, cleaner transportation, cleaner energy. If you had a magic wand, Nyla, what would those top 3 things you think that every person should be doing today, not tomorrow, but today, to make sure we have cleaner air, cleaner water, greener buildings, greener transportation?
I would say, I think first step would be to have accessible, low cost, or fair days where the prices aren't so high or hiked. Like for example, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, have that be like free or low cost. You would have so many more thousands of people riding the metro if you knew that during a certain period, it would be free or low cost, like pennies, a dollar or two, not extreme costs like $5, $6, $7, etc. dollars back and forth. Another thing would be to train the generation of today, so have more grants and scholarships for those who want to be in green energy, learn how to build solar panels, learn how to advocate, and maybe be an intern or be in the law space. Because it's hard getting access if you don't have the funding or capital or scholarships to do that. I think third would be making sure that more homes can have solar panels, the ones that make sense to. Not every home, of course, can have that because it doesn't make sense. You know, if you're under a whole bunch of trees, or if you're in a place in the US that doesn't get a lot of sun, you know, may not be as optimal. But having it so that it's affordable and people know about getting solar panels to change the way our energy goes, as far as our housing, that'd be important.
All right.
They're good.
Nice, nice. So Khadijah, what would your top 3 be if you could wave a magic wand and do 3 things and that can help make this place a better place for everyone? What would those 3 environmental, clean energy, or clean transportation things be?
I would start off by saying I think that what I would like to see would be people being more involved in the community, like local level, because I think that, you know, it all starts with who we elect into office, like who is putting our, how do I say this, like needs in the forefront versus just starting off as a political statement. Like, are you really about what you say you are? Also, I do kind of want to piggyback off of what Nyla had said with the public transportation and how it should be like affordable during certain times. I think that with it being affordable, people would less likely want to use their car. And because, for example, sometimes I take the train to work and sometimes I drive. So it's like if I fill my gas tank up, and then I have to pay like an additional $10 to go park my car. It's like I don't have that much money. So I think that's also important as well. And lastly, I would just think that, again, like I like to focus on like the youth, like to start implementing like certain lessons with them. So as they get older, it's just already built in.
Nice, nice. So while we have you, Khadijah, you're a student right now. If we're gonna fix this problem with all the days getting hotter and hotter, winters being more extreme with cold weather, and how do you see us getting people that you go to school with or people that just graduated a couple years ahead of you? How do we get them engaged to care about this? And then how do we get them to get their parents to care about it?
From my perspective, I think pushing the fact that this is a public health issue, because I remember attending a symposium over the summer and I wasn't fully aware that, you know, I always thought asthma was a genetic thing. I didn't know it was because like air pollution and all of that. And it's like people that look like me and you that are suffering the most. So I feel like if we push that, more people will be likely to get involved, because it's not just, like I said, oh, go plant a tree and oh, just recycle. Like it's literally life and death. So I think that that will get more people kind of force, like if will force themselves to be like, I need to get involved for the sake of like my health and my children's health, and like
That's a good
further
point.
on.
We need to do that marketing more, and I think coming out of this, we will do that. I think we need to do some creative stuff around better promoting that. So we only have a few minutes left, but I want to go to Nyla. There's a lot of buzz about electric vehicles and clean transportation. What's your take on electric vehicles?
I'm absolutely for them. I have them. I have one of them. I have a 2022 Nissan Leaf, and I love it. It does get a lot of mileage, about 160 plus, like 160, 170-ish plus, in the summer, fall, winter months especially. It's great for charging. I do endorse them, even though there are some detractors who say or worry about, charge anxiety, maybe having the when you want to, or what happens, and it costs, but you get a rebate on them, benefits associated with it as well. I mean, you never have to go at the pump anymore, so that's the cost that you're lessening, and also safety, because at gas stations, as a female, sometimes at night, or when it's 6 o'clock, whatever, I don't want to be around anybody, and especially at the gas station where there's robberies and all type of other different crimes, all type of things can go left. And so to avoid that, it's like heaven. And you can charge at home. You can have the charger, which is a few $100s, and then you just charge it, and you never have to worry about anything. Hardly an electric bill. There's like no upside to it. There's tons of benefits though. So I'll say I wouldn't say I would try and convince anybody, but if you want to change your car, want something new, all the new car manufacturers are getting on top of it, and they're having bolts and all these different type of vehicles. Just find what works for you, whether it's a truck or a hatchback, and just go from there.
All right. Khadijah, I know you've been very involved with electric school buses, electric cars, and just want to say what your thoughts were on that.
My thoughts on EVs is I like them. I don't have any like negative thoughts. My only thing is just, getting them more like the accessibility of it, and for their charging stations as well. Some people can't charge at home.
That's right.
And so I just think that we need to figure out how to make sure it's accessible. But other than that, I like the idea of EVs.
All right. Well, Nyla, I want to give you the last couple last question, and then I'll give you all a chance to give some closing comments. So, Nyla, one of the big things that we're very concerned about is the diesel-powered vehicles, especially the big trucks, and some of the work trucks and medium and heavy-duty vehicles. And when I think about the state of Maryland and the District of Columbia and many other communities across the country, I still see at these gas stations very few biodiesel or EV charging. There's mostly diesel and gasoline only stations throughout most of the country. What can we do to change that? I mean, why? I know that everything can't be electrified, but it does not make any sense to me that all these local communities are passing all these climate plans and solution initiatives at the local and state level. Meanwhile, they keep opening fueling stations that only offer gas and diesel, no biodiesel, no EV charging. What can we do to change that?
Well, I would make it if I lived in any of these areas and I wasn't able to find charging stations and all I saw were gas powered vehicles, I'd make a fuss and make it a personal mission to talk to my local legislator. I know that Justice 40, they have an over ramping and trillions of dollars flowing to all these disadvantaged communities, which more than likely have people of color in them, some of them. And so, if we live in these communities, I think that we should communicate, first of all, with those who are making the laws and who are have the capacity to change what's going on where we live, because they live where we live. And I believe that if you want something done, you sometimes got to take the horns by the reins and say, I want more of these in my community. So for charging station, for example, or if you want um, more places where you can have your EVs or having it accessible, have the grants available, have the funding available. I would go to town halls because I love going to town halls. When I go to them, I ask questions, I make a few connections, etc., and I go to the next event. Next thing you know, you see more and more legislators there. And so you could try to have a relationship as a constituent with your legislator. So that's one of the first things I would do. Be at the town hall meetings, calling them, emailing them, whichever way works with them. Because some legislators, they work better in person. Some have a secretary, you could call or email them, and kind of form that relationship there. Um, and then also, there's also just researching other states, see how they got charging stations where they are, and see, okay, how is Colorado or California able to have all these EVs around, but a place like Montana or South Dakota, they hardly know what those are. So you kind of got to go where the research and information is, and then ask questions and analyze from there, and then see how you can bring it, to your state.
Nice, excellent. Well, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to first thank you all for being here today. This has been amazing. Thanks for being on our first show, and really appreciate the hard work that Khadijah, that you're doing, and Nyla, that you're doing to help save the planet, make it better. Both of you raised some really excellent points. One is that we've got to also talk about the human side of the energy, impact on energy, the environment, and transportation on people. Every message is different. We all want the same thing, but how we get there, it matters, and how we communicate to get people to care about these issues also matter as well. It's going to take a multi-pronged approach. One way is not going to be the way that we get there. It's going to take numerous different strategies and paths forward. And the other big thing is that we've got to be in the conversation. We have to be very active participants in this. We can't be spectators as all these billions and trillions of dollars, as Nyla talked about, are being spent and invested in both the public and private sectors. The communities that need the attention have to be raising the issues, and those legislators that don't know, we have to educate them. If they're not talking about it, we got to make sure they're talking about it. If they're not doing what we need them to do, we have to push them to do what they need to do. As Nyla said, we need to have some town halls. So we're going to have a town hall on gas stations and fueling stations, because I am tired of being sick and tired that they keep opening all these gas and diesel only stations all over the country. I'm not saying that they got to stop everything right now, but fuel diversity matters. So until we get everyone weaned off of gas and diesel, we should at least have biodiesel, electrification, and hydrogen available, green hydrogen available, and to some degree propane available at these fueling stations. There no longer should be any gas station being retrofitted, upgraded, renovated, or brand new that has only diesel and gas only anywhere in the United States of America. We have the power to change that, and we need more green leaders on the move. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Green Leaders on the Move with Antoine Thompson. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest trends in clean energy and transportation from the Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GWRCCC. Thanks again. See you next time.